Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to HORECA Talks at HORECA Kuwait 2025. We're delighted to be joined by some outstanding industry experts for a discussion on what to expect from the hospitality sector in 2025. This event has been co-organized by Leaders Group for Consulting and Development, Hodema Consulting Services, and Hospitality News Middle East, sponsored by Holiday Inn Hotel. So I would like to start by introducing our great leaders. So I will start with Mr. Saleh Bataineh, General Manager of the Waldorf of Astoria, Kuwait. Saleh brings 25 years of experience in luxury hospitality across global markets, including Jordan, Canada, the UAE, Egypt, Qatar, and China. Renowned for driving operational excellence and delivering exceptional guest experiences, Saleh has built a distinguished career marked by strategic leadership and industry recognition. His professional journey includes senior roles with prestigious brands such as Hilton, Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, and Four Seasons, further showcasing his deep expertise and commitment to excellence. In his current role, Saleh Bataineh is dedicated to enhancing Waldorf Astoria Kuwait's reputation for unmatched luxury and anticipatory service. Welcome and thank you for being with us. Martin Kipping, General Manager for Seasons Hotel at Burj Alshaya. Martin stands out as a transformative leader in Kuwait's hospitality sector, renowned for his strategic excellence, innovation, and unwavering commitment to sustainability. Under his leadership, the hotel has earned prestigious accolades, including Forbes 5-star ratings, the LEED Platinum Award, and the Verified Responsible Hospitality Badge. His dedication to enhancing guest experiences, promoting environmental responsibility, and fostering community engagement has redefined industry standards and set a new benchmark for excellence. Welcome, Martin, and good to have you back with us on this panel. Federico Mantoani, General Manager, Grand Hyatt Kuwait, and Area Vice President for Kuwait and Oman. Congratulations on your new role. A visionary leader with over 25 years of experience in the hospitality industry, Federico is recognized for establishing new standards in luxury, hospitality. Indeed, he played a pivotal role in the successful debut of Grand Hyatt Kuwait in 2022. He also led iconic pre-opening projects, reshaping guest experiences and driving operational excellence. Welcome again. Nader Neishabouri, General Manager of the Jumeirah Messilah Beach. So he brings over 15 years of extensive experience in hotel operations across key global markets and demonstrates a deep passion for delivering exceptional guest service. He joined Jumeirah in August 2022 as hotel manager at Jumeirah Lawns in London. With a strong focus on luxury and innovation, Nader now leads his team in Kuwait, dedicated to creating unforgettable experiences and strengthening the hotel's reputation as a premier destination within Kuwait's dynamic hospitality landscape. Thank you for being with us. Elie Saliba, General Manager, Crowne Plaza and Holiday Inn, Thuraya City. With over 22 years of experience in hospitality, Elie has achieved numerous career milestones, including the prestigious 2018 IHG Impact Award for restaurants and bars during his tenure at Intercontinental Doha Beach and Spa, a highlight especially during the FIFA World Cup. His dedication to enhancing operational excellence has been evident across Lebanon, Kuwait, Jordan, and Qatar. Welcome back as well, Elie. And last but not least, Andreas Wissdorf, Multi-Property General Manager, Marriott Hotels in Kuwait. Currently overseeing 5 Marriott properties in Kuwait since late 2021, Andreas brings over 30 years of global experience. With expertise in international hotel operations, multi-unit property management, and successful project execution in complex environments, his career includes various leadership roles within Marriott. welcome as well. Perfect. So let us start with our first question to you, gentlemen, and let us speak a little bit about 2024. So, how was it for the hotel industry in Kuwait? So, I'll start with Federico.
Hello. Thank you very much, first of all, for being here and hosting this discussion. I think everybody came out of 2023 hopeful for how 2024 was gonna perform, and I think we were all sort of positively surprised. That obviously, in my case, that was the second year of operation, so we were coming from a relatively low base compared to my colleagues here in the panel. But so for us, it was an incredible year, and especially on the last few months of the year. Obviously, the GCC conference and the GCC Football Cup really gave that final push that really took us to the next level, right? Hopefully, and we are hopeful for that to sustain and remain for this year, and the indication is that there is a positive momentum that will take us through to this year. So very optimistic, very positive, very happy with the performance of last year, and I think my colleagues share the sentiment. But yeah.
We're gonna see now if they do. So I'm gonna ask both of you, Elie and Andreas. You are basically you have like different segments in your portfolio. So is that as well the same for you? The performance for the hotels under your umbrellas, was it good compared to previous years?
Well, it certainly was a very successful year across all our properties, no matter what segment, 3, 4, or 5-star segment. So, but as already mentioned, it was the last quarter that made the difference. The first 9 months of the year were kind of the usual, where we kind of saw a roller coaster of business. So it was not really clear how the end is going to year towards the end of the summer, but we could see that probably November and December are going to be good. They ended up being so good that we were able to achieve our year-end budgets, which was, as I said, at the end of the summer, not quite predictable yet. So bottom line, if we look at 2024, it was an excellent year. So now we want to see how 2025 will move on, and the hopes are high. We do have a positive sentiment because we do see activities from the government, but I think I'll leave that to the rest of the discussion.
And what about at your hotels, Elie?
Yes, definitely. As my colleagues has mentioned earlier, overall, especially with the last quarter of the year, 2024 was definitely a good year. I remember sitting here in January last year. I don't think we were that optimistic. But we have to mention several occasions that happened last year, and I think it was a good boost for the business. I remember beginning of Feb last year, it was the announcement of opening the visas for the families in Kuwait for and more nationalities, and they list a lot of new nationalities to be on visa on arrivals and others. I think this was like the ignition of things is changing, and this is definitely a plus and advantage for the hospitality. Well, this is why I believe February and definitely after Ramadan, it was the kickoff in April and May. Unfortunately, a little bit this summer, at least for my hotels, witness again kind of a steady period. At last till end of September, when we start feeling like, in a way, oops, the year is not really doing well, and then after a strong Q2, but definitely the summit and the events that was hosted by the government, such as the summit and the Arab Cup, definitely this was the game changer for all of us, I think, or at least for my hotels. And we end up with a good year looking forward, and we're trying to be as optimistic as possible that these vibes last longer and then, enjoy another good year in 2025.
Thank you. Now, if I go back to Saleh, Martin, and Nader, Now, we know that, I understand, that the last quarter of the year was kind of saving the whole year because of the events that happened, be it the summit or the other event. So how were you, this is not some, hello? So those kind of events usually are pre-planned. So you were supposed to be having the influx of reservations coming to your hotels. So why you were happily surprised that your year has been saved? So what like it was announced just a couple of days ago, or how did it happen? Those two big events the last quarter.
So we usually do the budget a year and a half in advance. So that was not announced when we did the budget. For us, we were also pacing behind budget until the last quarter. And then November and December really helped with the GCC Summit and the Golf Cup for us to actually close the gap for our budget to make sure that we close the year in line with budget. But when we did the budget proposal a year and a half ago, we didn't factor in the GCC Cup and the GCC Summit.
Because it was not announced yet? Ah, okay. All right. Okay, so what about, so your hotel was impacted positively as well, Saleh? We need an extra microphone.
All right. Thank you, Nada, for of course the opportunity to speak a little bit about how the hotel's been performing in 2024. We think I agree with most of my colleagues here who've spoken already about the performance of 2024. It has been fantastic. I'm very much the new kid on the block. I've only been here for about 4 months, but I can share the sentiment that 2024 quarter four has been tremendous, and obviously coming out of a pandemic. There's every hope that this is going to change and the business is going to go back. Now, having said this, I know that the business levels overall in Kuwait generally sits in mid-40s compared to neighboring cities, where the occupancy is in places like Qatar and places like Emirates are probably mid-60s to mid-70s, right? So there's a need, of course, for GCC Cup, which brings a lot of business in, which was tremendous for us. And we've seen in four-star hotel business occupancy about 60% increase overall only in December, giving a very much 30% increase for the entire year for the business.
So
and
we were able to be closing the year at around occupancy-wise 40%
well,
this year?
Every hotel has this. Again, I think with Kuwait hotels, it's a little bit different. So if you're achieving 55%, you're doing very, very well in certain aspects. But overall, there's a very strong increase. Now, I think one thing that definitely happens is this tourism, because just to answer your question, there has been a lot of fans, been a lot of VIPs who are very interested to come in, and that obviously has boosted the occupancy levels very well. Something that maybe we have anticipated, but not expected to be so great. So we're very, very happy with the performance for 2024.
What about the first season? Martin.
Yeah, from our perspective as well, the uncertainty in regards to what the impact of the GCC summit would bring, as well as the Khaliji Cup, where would the teams be located, where are the delegations being placed. So all of this happened relatively late in the year. So when we say we were surprised, we were not surprised in regards to occupancy levels, but there was uncertainty. And specifically for us, when we heard that, we would not host any team from the Khaliji Cup and or from the GCC Summit, we certainly had to shift a little bit our strategic plan in regards to the last quarter. Now, fortunately, there was enough compression in the market that we were able to yield and drive our ADR up. And certainly, the occupancy was quite good as well. Probably not on the level as some of the other hotels here or the general managers in the panel, but it was a very successful third quarter for us as well. But to answer your question, there was a lot of uncertainty in the first kind of 6 months or even 8-9 months in regards to how will the fourth quarter shape up.
Are we having some events that are announced for 2025? I know that there will be one in March. So are you now able, once you prepared your budgets, to know that we will be having as well in 2025 some events that will be filling all the hotels? So is there a support really from the government with like a calendar of events so that to help tourism?
Yeah, I do believe, just because I have a mic right now, let me jump in there. I do believe that meetings are taking place right now to structure the year from a government perspective, which is appreciated. There are events which we are aware of, but again, some of these events are relatively new to Kuwait. It's to be seen how much impact it will really have in regards to occupancy in the luxury concept. But a little bit following what my colleagues were saying, there is certainly positivity in the market that there are events scheduled. They are certainly following the GCC summit as well, that government events will take place. And the question still is, because it's a very competitive market, where will, again, some of these delegations being placed, which hotels will receive a larger share or a lower share in regards to those events. But yes, absolutely, there is positivity in the market.
Federico, I know that your hotel has been positively impacted by the summit. So if we want to speak about lodging, I do believe that we had the number of people to fill the Parc Hotelier in Kuwait. What about F&B? Was that positively impacting as well the restaurants at the hotels in the city?
Just to finish on what Martin was saying, I believe that, group conferences are really creating that important base for hotels to start really the yielding process, right? So without knowing in advance larger events and booking in the system, you're unable to forecast. And a lot of the difficulties we face is that everything is coming last minute, right? So our forecasting accuracy, if you will, is very, very skewed by the inability to map out the big events in the city and saying, oh, okay, GCC conference, it affects everybody. And so, positively, you can also yield on the remaining inventory, especially hotels like mine and Nader's that hold such a large number of rooms in inventory. You need that base to open the month to get you through it. I think on the conference side and on the group side, the effect and the impact on restaurants is good for the all-day dining events, but I don't think the spillover to the other outlets is as important. And this is especially true because F&B in hotels follow oftentimes, especially mine, and I believe he will be able to concur, is that we are sitting and we are adjacent to malls. So malls follow a very clear seasonality pattern, and therefore, the conference does not necessarily impact those outlets, but I don't know.
For us as well, I think F&B didn't really benefit that much from the group itself. But as my colleague said, I have a very large inventory. We have the largest inventory in Kuwait, so it's always very challenging to attract people to come to our F&B outlets. I think our biggest competition in this country is Talabat. We need to make sure that we make it easy for the guests to try to order in room service or in the outlets, because Kuwait is very famous for being the food hub of GCC. So it's very difficult sometimes for us to compete with that. But I had the same problem. So it was very last minute kind of arrangement for the GCC Cup. They had a full board, so a lot of my outlets, they were dedicated to different teams, so we didn't manage to yield on those outlets. But overall, December was good. But I think in terms of the F&B, we all have to be a little bit more creative to bring new concept into
which we're gonna be tapping into that subject in a bit.
Into our hotels, yeah.
Okay, now if we just shift to a very trendy subject, which is AI. Okay, So in the era of AI and all of this digital transformation that is happening around us, how are your hotels really leveraging technology to enhance guest experience and streamlining the operation? Andreas.
Well, I think AI has been been used in our business since many years. One use of AI is in revenue management. So I think most of the big companies have revenue management systems that can forecast demand, so that helps predict the future, and that is actually kind of driven by AI. So that's a pretty old use of AI, or early AI, I should say. Digital transformation, of course, is fast-paced. It moves, as we all know, it's all changing our day-to-day lives, and so it has also for hospitality. I think in our world, in the Marriott world, we've been quite innovative, trying to apply digital transformation and to take advantage of what it can bring to the customer, but also how it can streamline our day-to-day operations. So if we translate this term digital transformation, I would say mobile apps that have become very powerful are a good example. So nowadays, customers can instantly communicate with the hotel. No need anymore for going via emails or phone calls or these more traditional ways of communication. One can simply open an app and start chatting with the hotel where one wants to make a reservation, already has a reservation, or even while in-house in the hotel, you can communicate with the hotel very seamlessly, whether it's a room service order, a request for other amenities to the guest room. So the usage is vast. In-room dining, for example, even is also already now digital. I think it's hard to find still hard copy prints of room service menus. So this is on the customer facing side. On the back of the house side, also digital. Obviously, we're going paperless as much as we can, but also when it comes to systems, most of our systems now are cloud-based. So cloud-based for accounting or finance system that's not located in a particular hotel anymore. So this is also one part of where digital transformation has come to use. And the list is actually endless, and I'll stop here to allow my colleagues to add a little bit more.
We'll leave it for Elie to tell us more about IHG and how are you like really leveraging by using AI.
Yeah, I have to agree definitely with Andreas. In hotels, honestly speaking, this was a subject in all our GM's conferences, I'm sure. But to be a little bit also honest and straight, it's still limited somehow. And I would relate it to the back office. You know, in hotels, we have the operational department and the back office departments. So most of these AI things are mainly focused so far, as he said, like revenue management. IAG did introduce this year a very smart system. It's still under implementation, and we are one of the pilot hotels where it doesn't only manage but also recommend, and then sometimes you cannot even override these decisions, which is I'm still a little bit hesitant and worried sometimes if I cannot override the system. You know, as a human, we always want yourself to be involved because you think you understand more the market and that. However, we need to start trusting all new systems and all these artificial intelligence and others. On the other hand, definitely in terms of finance, we have a nice program also, but it's a little bit, I would say, an AI technology that will help more sustainability and others. And definitely when it comes also to guest experience, we have a very smart program that we call it text analytics. It's mainly absorb all the comments all on a monthly, weekly, and definitely yearly basis. And they recommend what kind of actions and proactive actions in the future needs to be implemented in order to enhance our guest experience and guest love. So I think we're there, but definitely needs more efforts and more commitment from our side.
If I'm gonna just now jump into a question, Will AI make us have less people involved in terms of working in hospitality? Because in other industries, we're saying that AI is going to take place of people. So will that ever be the case in our industry?
I would
Nader?
say in hospitality, we're still quite behind the rest of the industries in terms of integrating AI. As Elie said, yes, we use it for the revenue and pricing strategy in our idea system. But rather than that, it's still very minimal use of AI. I think in hospitality, you still prefer to have that human interactions with your guests, and I think that's very important. So we need to be mindful of where we actually integrate that AI into our systems. We do use it in different aspects. So, for example, we do have in our company we have an e-butler system that you can talk to our team through your WhatsApp. And in certain region of our company, we use AI to actually give you automatic responses and deal with the different departments. But can we completely eliminate that human touch in hospitality? I don't think that's the right approach to go, because I really feel that especially in the luxury market, people still want to have that human interaction.
Yes.
Because that's completely different than using AI. And this is my opinion. I think we should definitely have that human interactions moving forward. We can definitely enhance the guest journey in our hotels through AI, but we really need to be mindful in which areas we are using AI.
Okay. Federico, anything to add in terms of AI?
I think they've covered most of it. I think we haven't seen anything yet. I think it's developing at such a speed that maybe next year we'll have a very different conversation about the role of AI into our business. I think as long as AI adds value, takes work out of the system, and increases our ability to service the customer better, I think that's still a positive sort of development. The moment we start using AI and taking the human element out of the interaction, then that's when hospitality will lose its shine and it'll move in the dark side. And somehow I see it in some American hotels where people don't check in themselves. They bypass all human interaction. They go to the room has, systems, everything is system based. Exactly. So you don't really need that sort of, and that has thankfully not come to the Middle East, and the Middle East is expecting that interaction, the recognition especially, and that's what we pride ourselves on as well. That's what we build our business models on, their service. How do we elevate services, right? And so far I've only seen the positive from a system-based point of view. I hold my judgment for future developments.
Thank you. Martin and Saleh, I'm going to ask you now about sustainability within your hotels, and if you want to add anything about AI. But how is it going? I remember last year, Martin, you've shared with us lots of sustainability initiatives that are taking place within the Four Seasons. So anything more that has been implemented this year? Can you share with us, for instance, now how much this is cost effective to be implementing sustainable initiatives?
Yeah, talking about sustainability, I think it's a little bit like AI. We're not focusing on sustainability because of sustainability, because of the benefits. And it's the same with AI. Thinking about Four Seasons, or I think the majority of us in luxury hospitality, I don't believe in the front of house in the near future AI will have any future. I believe this will come, at a stage when the customer is ready to experience AI in a luxury environment. He's willing to pay premium to have a conversation with a computer. I think at this point it might shift. Until then, in the front of house, I don't believe there's any major shift in regards to AI. Now, in regards to sustainability, our approach in 2024 was certainly from a corporate perspective as well, to really drive sustainability forward where it makes sense. Certainly, a lot of other hotel companies went into the direction of single-use plastic-free, and we've started bottling our own water. We have e-limousine in our fleet. We have a charging station now. Thank you to our owners, Mr. Alshaya, in our garage. I think where we are at right now is switching from product-driven sustainability to an educational. And so the education of our colleagues, the education of our guests is really starting to become more important, where a lot of kind of the foundation has been laid in regards to sustainability and sustainable initiatives. And so I think this is the shift we're seeing in 2025. And certainly our approach, similar to some other hotels as well, is further looking at partners like Green Key as an example, which supports the education as much as the procedures and the structure in the back half house in regards to sustainability.
So I think maybe building more on what Martin has kind of ended as well, sustainability is really becoming very much an important need. It's more than something like to have. It's a need right now for today's traveler. Today's travel is evolving, the needs are evolving, and a smart hotel company needs to be able to adapt to what the client and the guest and the patron wants. And I think there's a lot of initiatives at each of the hotel companies that basically dictates what each hotel in different region would do. And I think the idea of the green certificates and what Kuwait does, Kuwait has a very strong focus on that, which I think is very important, that we live in an environment where there's already set procedures and so on. We, of course, set our own targets as a hotel to be able to educate, as Martin has said, about the initiatives and what it is. But I was reading an article a couple of weeks back about Booking.com done some sort of a survey for about 33,000 travelers of today's traveler. And they've said 3/4 of that basically expect or they want to stay at a hotel that has sustainable practices. So from a commercial standpoint, that tells you that you need to be making those initiatives. And also about 43% of those are actually willing to pay a little bit more premium to stay at that kind of hotel. So it takes a little bit more than just doing it. It's actually trying to really enforce it in such a way. This is the way forward. We're going to be living in tomorrow. So they're going to have to start planning for tomorrow today in terms of green initiatives and sustainability.
Thank you. Are you able to quantify how much you are able to have more clients coming to your hotels because you have some sustainability like being respected at your respective hotels, or not yet?
Sorry, in terms of quantifying, sorry.
How many customers, how many clients are like booking at your hotel because you are having sustainable...
So I think maybe I'll take the lead on this since I have the mic. I think we don't see it in that aspect. I know that there's a lot of now the Booking.com, TripAdvisor and so on. They give you those green leaves, which tells the guest of how much we are actually participating. And we tend to advocate that at check-in. We tell the guests about a couple of initiatives that we have. We see that the younger generation of travelers actually look forward to these things. So we anticipate that most of the young travelers, they know what they want and they will ask for it. And the initiatives are many, of course, and kind of similar to what Martin's mentioned at the Four Seasons Footsteps. Our owners, Al-Mabani and the Alshaya Group, is actually also endorsed a very strong initiative to also do water bottling to eliminate one-use plastics. And I think once the guest checks in and sees that in the room versus the plastic bottle, the typical one, I think they will appreciate it. And they probably will talk about it on their travels and the reviews and so on. So you'll probably see a lot of people talking about it without specifically coming to you and saying, I'm this kind of guest who will ask for that. Right?
So if I want to be asking what department is like taking care of sustainability at your hotels, is it engineering?
For us, everyone is involved. But one thing I wanted to add, and I think the thought process that as a company or as hotels we are doing this to drive revenue, I think is wrong. I think a lot of us, we feel a responsibility in regards to doing the right thing. And, certainly there is a component in regards to financial benefit. But I don't believe that we have started as a company, and I do believe I speak on behalf of everyone, to work on sustainability because we feel we want to do an extra buck. So there is a component of doing the right thing, and by doing the right thing, there's certainly an interest from a guest perspective, staying in a property which thinks that sustainability is important. So just wanted to highlight this because I think making this a question in regards to a dollar sign is probably the wrong angle.
Are there rules for sustainability in Kuwait which are set by the government? Are you asked as hotels to be following some rules or from the Kuwaiti government, or not really? It's a private initiative. Elie.
As far as I know, related specifically to sustainability, I don't think so. So there is not like a specific requirement that just linked to sustainability, maybe a little bit more toward the environment and others, but which is, it's like together when we cannot also differentiate with sustainability. However, we do, and I'm sure we're all coming, we are supported by our corporate offices and our brands itself. I'm sure Marriott and the others, they have similar programs like NIG. It's a little bit advanced and everything is measured. And I do believe that maybe 6-7 years ago, it was good to have, or it was good to have new initiatives and others. Now it is measured. So we do have kind of an interactive system. It's called Green Engage. And then this system, it measures carbon reduction, water wastage, energy waste, everything, months on months, year on year. And then every year you have kind of a percentage, 2 to 3% on the same property in terms of energy alone, in terms of water alone, which is, I believe it becomes a must. And this is part of our incentive plan. So this is one criteria where, and then this year the target was 10% only for this specific metric. And in addition to that, you have 3 main subjects that all hotels in the region, they need to comply to. For example, this year we had, some of the hotels also, they are all similar to the Holiday Inn in Kuwait. And you need to achieve, to make sure, for example, all the LED light in the hotel, everything is the LED, for example. You need
so
to
that
make
is
sure
gonna be like at the end leading to cost saving.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But as I agree with Martin, so it should be also responsible, not only, it started as a tick box and everyone would like to achieve his targets and others. But honestly speaking, with time and it's a culture, and this is definitely a culture. And talking a little bit about, the client, and from a client point of view, most of us, we have our systems that support us and all our international accounts and RFPs, and many of them, including their contracts and these things, they mention about sustainability. Being in Kuwait, for example, maybe Saleh was, we were at the same period in Kuwait. So when the FIFA came to Kuwait, I think this was one of the hottest subjects, and and you wanted to prove, and there was a committee that followed up with us for 3 years consecutively to make sure that we are applying in depth every point that was mentioned prior to taking any business coming from an international entity. So I think we are a little bit advanced if we want to compare AI and sustainability. Hopefully in the future AI will take place, but I agree with my colleagues, especially in the luxury, you need to make sure that you are in an industry which is, you need to make sure you perform with flair, you have a personalized service. So I think AI, it will not be as successful as sustainability, in my opinion.
Nada, if you allow me just to add one small thing regarding your question about whether or not Kuwait implements. Regardless, I think the fact that there is a lot of internationally known and recognized organizations and institutions that basically puts programs out there, the hotel companies mandated by their corporate offices go out to achieve those. So it's not a question of whether or not you're doing it. It's also about, as socially responsible that you're doing it. But it's very comprehensive, And you're actually, for you to get that certificate that some of my colleagues mentioned, you need to do quite a lot. And the advantage for newer hotels, they can do that, build their hotels with those sustainability initiatives in there, planted in, and the other ones, they're just gonna have to put it on their basically future expenses, and you can be compliant. And once you put it out there, you can obviously, you and yourself and your team and your owners and everybody else feel very proud about it.
Anyhow, tomorrow we're going to be having a panel about sustainability, and we're going to be focusing on that subject, the whole panel, and we're having a lady from Alshaya who is as well responsible about sustainability. So they created a department. So that's how much it is like taking importance, if I may put it this way. Andreas, you wanted to add something about this? Before that?
Well, I just have to complete the circle and say how important, obviously, environmental friendly operations are. We succeeded in getting Green Key certification last year for all our properties here in Kuwait. I would say it's kind of low-hanging fruit. But at the end of the day, it is our companies that drive these initiatives also. Similar to Elie, we have very rigid measurements. One of my engineers is sitting here in the room, and he keeps nodding. It's very rigid, and we get pretty stiff targets that we have to, reduce energy consumption, water consumption, etc., and even waste, also food waste. The list is endless. So, doing better is certainly a requirement. But I will also say, yes, there is, because we talked about the monetary side of this. Yes, there are cost savings, but at the same time, there are additional costs in conducting environmental friendly business. I think going to the plastic free does actually cost some money or at least you have to invest in the beginning. The same for all the LED lighting replacements is an investment up front, maybe on the long term. Now, the impact is much different, I guess, depending on which market you operate. So in Europe, where energy prices are extraordinarily high, gas, water, electricity, there is a big return on the investment, whereas in countries where we are still blessed with rather low energy prices, the initial investment is actually quite high.
Thank you. Now, going back to the luxury segment, are we still tapping in the luxury in Kuwait, in the luxury segment in Kuwait? Federico? And then I'll ask all the luxury GM.
That's an interesting question. I think, look, luxury, we all run beautiful hotels. I think how personalized is your service? I think we all have beautiful buildings, so how do you increase the average spend per person is only defined by the ability of the hotel to deliver an experience and deliver a service, right? So we always, what keeps us up at night is how do you, you fill that imaginary gap of that 10% that separates you from excellence, right? And you're always there. You're never going to achieve it, right? But you're always stuck in that last 10% where those personal interactions are made, right? So we, I have 500 plus employees at the Grand Hyatt. Many of them come from, various nationalities, various countries, various backgrounds. So how do you align all these individuals to become passionate about service, to deliver those experiences? I think that's the difficult. Going back to your question, is there still a demand for luxury? I think there is. I think there is a demand for quality service, right, and quality products. And that links as well to be able to stay competitive in the markets. You look at Dubai, I mean, it's so overly saturated. How do you compete, right? The only competing element that distinguishes yourself from the rest is really your ability to deliver, right? Deliver at a restaurant level, a product level, a service level. And I think that's, where we spend a lot of our time and a lot of our investment in training, in selection, in recruitment, in trying to tap into the right profile of colleague, because that's the person that is going to monetize that experience, right? And justify it to the customer. The customer has so many choices that nowadays is very quick to making a decision of not returning, right? So you really need to be on your toes, and you need to be able to, you know, have an army of people that believe the same way and align on that mission and that purpose, right? So it's not easy, right? But it's exciting. It's exciting. Thank you.
Martin, how much? Sorry, you want to
No, I
add
just
something?
want to add
Nader?
on what Federico said. I completely agree with him. I think it is quite important for all of us to understand what luxury actually means. And it's not only about the product, is also, as Federico said, is the service that you're delivering. You need to differentiate yourself with the rest of the crowd. You need to bring the new technology to attract the new generations to come to your properties.
But then, how are you able to find the right caliber of employees?
So after COVID, I think the client perspective in terms of the hospitality has completely changed. If we look at the data from 2020 up to now, we can see the full service probably didn't perform as well as they should. The luxury and the budget sector, they performed much, much better. So there is obviously a demand for the luxury sector. How we can actually elevate that is through the service, because the product is very objective to every single person, but it's the service that you can provide to make sure that you create that sense of belongings for your guests, that they would like to come back. You make them your loyal guests. So sense of luxury is not always about the brand affiliation, it's about the nicest room or the Michelin star restaurant that you have anymore. I think it shifted. It was maybe like that 5-10 years ago, but completely changed now. So I completely agree with what Federico said. I think it's more about that service delivery to make sure that you elevate your product, you elevate your technology in the hotel, because the young generation is looking into that, and they have the money to spend, because these are the new generation that they're willing to actually have that luxury experience more than before.
Okay, Nader, I understand it's very clear between what you and Federico have just now said, but where are we getting those people to be getting that service? So do you have like hospitality schools in Kuwait? Do you steal employees from one another? How does it happen? Do you bring people from your other hotels outside the country? So where are those? Because this is major. Service is major, and that's what's differentiating each one of your hotels. So how are you getting it, or what are you doing to be giving that level of standards to your employees?
It's a very controversial question. We we obviously we do struggle a little bit in terms of the recruitment in Kuwait. I think most of us, we try our level best to have a robust recruitment process to get the right people to come in. Obviously, there is still a little bit of restrictions in the visas. But I think the first step to find the right people, to go through the right recruitment process, bring them into the hotel, make sure that they feel that they're part of the team. That sense of belonging to the organization and the team is very important. Make sure that you provide the right salary package for them. That's also very important as well. Otherwise, then we are competing with each other, because the talent pool is very limited. So we really need to be mindful of how we look after our people. But hopefully we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully in the next couple of years the visa is going to be more eased, so we will have more foreign workforce to come to Kuwait, because it's a beautiful country with a lot of potential. So I'm sure we can make it happen.
Thank you, Nader. Martin, how do you address the challenges in human resources?
We have a large black magic hat where we pull the employees out.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a big hat. No, I think, certainly there is a shift from years ago where there was a lot of qualified, experienced workforce in the labor pool. And this certainly after COVID diminished, but there are still a lot of very good people out there. There's just much more focus on training on property level. Certainly, we invested heavily from a company perspective, but as well from a hotel perspective in sourcing the right employees worldwide. We have 48 different nationalities working with us here in Kuwait, and the idea is hiring attitude, hiring personality, and then once the employees are over here, we can teach whatever kind of field of responsibility they will have. And so this is certainly it's a large investment, but it's a shift in regards to not bringing skilled labor in to a large degree. Not certainly there are some positions where we're looking certainly as well at expertise, but the majority of our line employees are very junior, and they're getting developed by us on property. They're getting trained, they're getting formed. And so, yeah, I think this is our approach. We have been surprisingly very successful in bringing talent to Kuwait. Now, there are specific jobs, specific positions where certainly it's a little bit more difficult to find talent, but I believe overall we have been blessed with some incredible employees. We just opened, as an example, our Lebanese restaurant, our new restaurant, Le Beirut, at the Four Seasons. By the way, it's incredible, just to make a little bit PR for Le Beirut. Terry, I think my executive chef, is sitting in the back over there. He asked me to do so. But we certainly wanted to have Arabic-speaking employees for this restaurant, and that's why I bring this up as an example. And, there are certainly still some visa restrictions, as mentioned, but we went into the market directly. We traveled to Beirut, and we had hiring fairs. We found talent. Again, people are available. You just have to find innovative ways of securing the right talent, and then focus on the development of the talent on property.
One thing, I think all of us share the same sort of dilemma and I think we've tackled at various degrees the recruitment process. What I find the most challenging from a staffing point of view is retention, more than recruitment. Recruiting talent, if you have if you know what profile you wanna find, if you know where to go and find it, the moment they come here, it's how do we not only create an experience that adds value to them, but also what are you offering them? Because it's a generational shift. The new generation thinks that every 6 months you need a promotion, you need a rise, you need to move forward, right?
And they want to become a GM.
Otherwise
directly.
They get bored super quickly, right? So from us that we had to wait 2-3 years before even we would fathom the idea of getting promoted, now it's on a 6 months cycle, right? So I think, and that's what we are discussing with our teams, is how, and we're measuring by different codes, the turnover ratio in terms of 3, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, because that's a huge investment in recruitment as well, from a monetary point of view. So I think that's what we should ask ourselves. How do we retain in Kuwait when we are surrounded by countries that are really pulling every day and they're trying to attract the people that we've painstakingly gone out and recruited, right? So I thought that was important I think.
Thank you. A question now in terms of hospitality and Kuwaitis. What are you doing to attract Kuwaitis to the hospitality industry? Do you have any programs? Like, for instance, in Saudi, they have launched so many programs. They have even the Saudization. Do we have something similar here? And are you doing something at your hotels, respectively, to attract Kuwaitis to this industry?
I don't want to take but because I do have a program, I would like to start, right? So 3 years ago before we opened, we consciously decided that I'm saying the hotel, the owners, as a purpose, we wanted to really give back to the country and make sure we started to make the hospitality industry attractive young Kuwaitis. So with their support and funding, we created this program whereby at the time was an 18-month cycle program for Kuwaitis to experience all the departments of the hotel until such time they understood the where they would see themselves fit best, right? We've now shrunk that program to 12 months, right? And we're blessed because we have currently 15 Kuwaitis working for us, and all in every single department, in sales, in marketing, front office, in F&B. So really, I would hope that they found their passions in those respective departments, and we continue to grow. So they got out of the program, so now they're integral part of the teams, and now we continue to inject new blood into it, because I think they have a lot to offer. I think this is their industry, and I think we have an ethical and moral responsibility to open up the industry to young Kuwaitis that are super talented, and hopefully one day will be sitting here instead of me. So
thank you, Federico. Now, we have so many prominent Kuwaiti chefs in the market. Are you able to hire any of them at your hotels? I know that you have a collaboration at the...
Yes, it's as I mentioned earlier, she's Chef Hanouf, and I think she will be with you on one of the panels. It's a matter of coordination and working closely. She started with us mid of the year, and honestly speaking, she was kind of our partner in the renovation of the new Nukhaza, the seafood restaurant, and she's doing great this year. We have different projects with her. So we'll be working on our Chabistan, our Iranian cuisine, and Ayam Zaman, our Lebanese cuisine. And honestly speaking, we can see the positives, and then the drive and the passion behind her talent. And it's a plus. Now, because we're working on a consultancy basis, let's put it that way, and it's not a chef or a regular permanent chef with us, we can see that there is a lot of positives. In return, on the other hand, as Federico mentioned, we do have also our own programs. We do something called IG Academy, and this year we focus purposely that we will recruit only Kuwaitis. And I think our HR director is sitting here. We did recruit around 30 employees in different departments. And just to mention that one of our greatest Kuwaitis, she joined the Grand Hyatt lately. So, you know,
so
they are attractive, a new hotel in the market, and then, you know, cross-coordination.
I told you.
So, but honestly speaking, you can see that this sector, it started becoming a bit attractive. I would say not because of the growth and the career, rather than the exposure and you know the hospitality, how it works. So it's very attractive for some of them, and they are doing extremely well. However, as I mentioned earlier on our call, it's a little bit the how resilient they are, or at least maybe not resilient, rather than how much really they want to stay longer in their jobs. They want to grow very fast. Definitely, being a Kuwaiti working in hotels, she has a lot of advantage, she or he, they have a lot of advantages and a lot of opportunities. The minute they start and they learn 6 to 8 months, you see, they grow somewhere else, or they move from us to the public sector, and then to governments and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I have two that we lost them to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Why? Because they start getting the experience and the admin and the backgrounds and, you know, the basics of an international brand and systems and the way how it works. And definitely she will be having a lot of advantage. This is why losing them also is very fast.
Maybe we never know. Maybe in the future we will be having Kuwaiti general manager sitting with us here on this panel.
Definitely.
I do believe that we came to the end of our panel. So I would like to wrap up. Before that, we give the audience the chance to ask you questions. If you can tell us about your future plans, projects.
So for 2025, we hopefully will reopen the JW Marriott Kuwait City, which is long awaited. It's been not yet, Mohammed. But we are very hopeful that it will be this year, end of the summer latest. So that will be a good re-entry of our old hotel. And then subsequently, we will look into renovating one of our other hotels, the Courtyard. So that's been around for 20 years and is really a workhorse. So that is the next project. We'll start that. We've already started now with planning. So that's going to keep us a little bit busy for the next 2 years.
Great. We know that one of your restaurants is under renovation. So.
Yes, and there is another 2 restaurants. Let me put it that way. It's more a refurbishment because we were talking about the challenges, especially for the in-house restaurants. So just a little bit to develop the product. 40 years age hotel. However, we are building on the legacy and the emotional connection of the market, especially specific segment. So we're trying to be at their expectation, even exceeding that. This is why we are in the phase of renovating our Edge, the gym, total renovation. It's already started. Hopefully we'll deliver in April. The Intercontinental also hopefully. So hopefully this Christmas we will celebrate a soft opening. So we're working hard on that. And by the year end, the new Intercontinental will come to life.
So both of them are opening a new hotel, JW and Intercontinental. I don't have a new opening, unfortunately. But we've done a rebranding last year in May for Jumeirah. So we do have our mission 2030 to develop our portfolio. And alongside with that, we need to change a lot of our services and the product and the offerings that we do. We have a vision to be the most influential hotel company in the world by 2030. And not the biggest one, I cannot compete with them, but to be the most influential hotel company in the world. So there is a lot for us to do. Hopefully in 2025, we would go through the design phase and we want to finalize our refurbishment program. So in 2026, we can actually commence the work happening in 2026. So hopefully that's going to be the plan for us in Kuwait. But as a Jumeirah, as a whole company, in the next 5 years, we are doubling up our portfolio. So in the next horizon, we are opening a brand new hotel in Red Sea, in Geneva, in Paris, and in different side of the world. So we are having another 3-4 opening happening in the next few months. So hopefully this is the aim we want to have by 2030.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Federico?
So not as exciting as my colleagues on the left. I think as I said, we are 2 years old. I think we will continue to consolidate our services, work on quality and development of chasing that excellence that we talked about before, and then hopefully we'll see the business flourish. I'm really hopeful about Kuwait's potential. And we hear a lot, there's a lot of buzz at the moment about the opening, the easing of these visa restrictions. And hopefully that will bring an influx that will make Kuwait compete from a conferences groups point of view to and leisure to the other neighbors. And we're a big hotel, we have big event and conference facilities. That's our bread and butter. So I'm very interested to see how it evolves in 2025.
Anyhow, the panel, which is gonna just come after this panel, is going to be about how trade exhibitions are impacting the tourism. So we're gonna be tackling this one.
I shall be sitting and listening very carefully. No, thank you very much.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you, Federico. So from our side, I mentioned earlier that at the end of December, we opened Libe Route, our new Lebanese restaurant concept at the Four Seasons. Second advertisement.
Yes.
I promise I'll not mention Libe Route one more time.
This is the third.
We went through the pre-opening phase and stunning restaurant where we're now moving from the indoor space into the lounge space. As we're coming through the winter months, you would find as well a refreshed lounge outdoors for Libe Route. Outside of this, we are working this summer on refreshment of our Cigar 21 lounge, which is located as well on the 4th floor, the Four Seasons. So in the future, there will be the possibility to have indoor as well as outdoor cigar smoking at the Four Seasons. We're working on some improvements to our banquet facilities during this year, 2025 as well. Finally, we start slowly some soft refurbishment of our rooms and suites as well. So as you might know, the property is now 7 years old and still looking very good, very young and very relative, but there are some small components, some new touch points, which we are starting to work on in 2025. So just to drive the excitement of our customers here in Kuwait.
I think for myself at the Waldorf Astoria in Kuwait as well, we are also 2-year-old. So the product still looks stunning, and it's going to continue to look stunning for the next couple of more years. So from a product perspective, we do not anticipate any projects that are coming. But as I always start with my morning lineup with my team, and I said, nothing substitute great service and quality service. And I think that's kind of really our bread and butter. And we make sure that we constantly focus on that. And I think it's very important that the luxury is illuminated in everything that we do and when we deliver the service, whether it's a meal that you have or it's breakfast or it's just a one-night stay. We are very proud to be, of course, the first and only property that has a double 5-star Forbes recognition. It's a very prestigious awards, worldwide recognized. And we will continue to do everything we can to make sure we maintain that in future. Aside from that, of course, we're going to re-innovate as much as possible in our food and beverage outlets. We've got an amazing Japanese restaurant, HORECA, which is really one of a kind, something that Kuwait can be proud about. And we will continue to make sure we are innovative in that aspect. And we will also expand our catering business to step out of the hotel to see, because there is a demand for something like that. Thank you very much, Nada, for everything.
Thank you. I will leave now the floor for your questions. If anybody would like to ask any of the gentlemen. A microphone here, please.
Okay, I'm happy to see all my colleagues here saying everything. Some things they haven't said it, but nevertheless, it's not a question, it's an advice, a recommendation only. All the operators here, they have their program for Kuwaiti national. 12 months, 18 months, 10 months, whatever it is. But what I recommend and advise, to have a target per year, put in the budget to have number of Kuwaitis to be trained and come to the hospitality sector. This is very important, and I think we need to sit down, do a strategy where we can go to the universities and talk to the people when they are graduated in order to come to this. So let them know about it. Yes, you have it, but it is not really known to the right people yet. So it's known to friends of friends, but let's go to the right people and try to really, and this is something where we should not be afraid that we are losing them. Yes, we will lose them. It will be a couple of years before the education of people to work in this sector, because less people will go to the government and more people will go to the private sector. And this is what we have to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Najia. Another question? Okay, so before that we conclude, I just want to tell the audience that we, Hodema, we're a consultancy company. Besides co-organizing those talks and moderating them, we are going to be hosting a very interesting workshop whereby myself and my partner Najim Murous will be telling you a little bit about how to grow your brands and how to franchise it. So for those who are interested in that particular subject, please come and watch us. It's going to be on January 16 at 5 p.m. after tomorrow. So thank you, gentlemen, again for a very insightful discussion. Yes, Federico.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Nada. Really appreciate it. I would like to actually say thank you to Mr. Najia. Mr. Najia? No, as de facto representative of the hospitality industry in Kuwait. I think he does a phenomenal job to keep us as a tight unit. I've been working in the Middle East for 25 years, and I think all of us on the panel, and I say this really because it comes from my heart, we're all very, very close. The competition is healthy, but we have a good camaraderie, and that speaks volumes about you're the glue that keeps things together, and you're our representative of hospitality in Kuwait, and I hope that, you know, we can continue to build on this. But thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you again.